What up? Oh, man. Don't mind this mess on this dresser behind me. How y'all doing? Let me just, hold on. What's good, y'all? Yo, that dresser looked like a mess behind me. I mean, it is a mess. Look, hold on. I don't want to zoom in that much. Y'all just gonna see the mess. Y'all just gonna see the real today. Cause it is a mess. Hold on. That at least it looks a little better. It is a mess on that dresser behind me. But you know what I mean? We keep it real over here. So, what's good, Triple OG? How you doing tonight? Thanks for pulling up to the stream. Good to see you. I had to try to fix some of this mess. I was looking for my lighter to light my candle. I don't see it. Takis or Cheetos? I'm gonna assume you mean the hot Cheetos if you're talking about Takis, and if that's the case, I'm going with hot Cheetos. Although I haven't had Takis since I was probably in middle school, literally over 10 years ago. But I mean, hot Cheetos I still have from time to time. I don't think I've had them in a year, probably like 6 months to a year, but I still rock with them. Oh man. Had a lot of good basketball this week, guys. A lot of really good basketball, a lot of great individual performances, and I think that's kind of where I want to start the show. Jason, what's good with you? I mean, Jason pulled up. I had the phone lines open. I almost forgot to open up the phone lines. I can't start the show and have Jason in the chat and the phone lines not at least be open. Okay, all right. Where's my iPad? But yeah, like I was saying, we had a lot of really, really good basketball this week since we last spoke. A lot of just really good individual performances. All right, so this one is important right before we... Yo, Triple OG, you must be snacking a lot because you always asking about favorite snacks. I ain't gonna hold you. I don't eat Pringles. I don't mess with Pringles. I couldn't even tell you a favorite flavor because I haven't had Pringles and I don't know when the last time I had some Pringles. Years. Like 10, 15 years last time I had some Pringles. So, I mean, I'll say sour cream and onion, but I don't really know if that's my actual favorite. But like I was saying, we had some really, really good games this week. Like, just over the weekend, earlier this week, some amazing, amazing basketball, especially on some individual performances. We got... Just the other day, Kyrie's 50 ball on some crazy efficiency. Jokic putting up crazy back-to-back triple-doubles. The first one, the 46, 12 rebounds, 11 assist game on wild efficiency. And then follows that up against the Warriors, putting up 32, 15, and 13. Julius Randle just the other night had 40... Was that last night or 2 nights ago? 40-something and 10 rebounds against the Kings. Now, granted, yeah, it's the Kings, but hey... Julius Randle, 40-something is impressive. I know Embiid put up 46 the other night. Was that against the Cavs? Who was that against? Embiid put up 46 literally like 2 nights ago. Players are going off, so that's my point. Players are buckling in. It's getting closer to playoff time, and they're going off. And then how can I forget LeBron James' 56 points the other night against... I ain't gonna hold you off the top of my head. I do not remember who they played. But I wanted to start the show off talking about LeBron James 56 because I made a TikTok, YouTube short about it. And in that, I just wanted to give LeBron some love. I was just saying how impressive it was, in my opinion, that he put up 56. Oh, this Jason right here. Thank you for calling Hawk Tubes. This is Hawk. What's good, Jason?
Come on, man. Why you leave out Darius Garland?
I knew it was somebody else forgetting. I was like, somebody else had a really
Why you
good
leave
game.
out Kyrie? You want to talk about Joel Embiid?
No. You missed
we
it.
ain't gonna do that.
I said Kyrie. I said Kyrie's 50 goal.
Okay.
I did.
All right, well,
I
don't be
missed
leaving out
DJ.
Garland for LeBron James. 57 points, and we're gonna talk about this. Nah, don't be doing that.
No, we got to do that. You know why? This is why we got to do that. Because, I mean, Jason, so many people was. All I did was want to make a quick video saying, you know, shout out to LeBron, 37 years old, 56. It was, you know what I mean? It was special. I wasn't trying. I ain't say nothing more than that. This whole video was like 20 seconds. All I'm getting is Kobe did this his last game. MJ did this his last game. It's not special.
That's right.
And my point was,
Kobe did it. Let's go.
Nobody was talking about them though. There's like, that's my whole biggest thing when it comes to people who hate on LeBron or just hate on players in general. You bring up a great thing about one player and they're gonna be like, well, X player did this or X player did that. That's not what you're talking about. I just wanted to show one player some love, show one player some roses. I do it with multiple players all the time, and it's always just like, why they hate? Why they hate for players, man? I don't get it.
I think the hate for LeBron really is the decision. The decision to going back to Cleveland, I think a lot of people just never really got over that with him.
Oh, they got to let that
He
one
is a
go.
phenomenal
That was over 10
athlete.
years ago.
Well, what they got to let go is, what needs to be let go is LeBron calling himself the GOAT. For me, that I'm like, hey, you know what? Stop it. Let other people dictate your legacy. You know what I'm saying?
But some
you
people do
coming
call
on
him
the
the
top
GOAT.
and talking about when I brought it. Huh?
I said some people do call him the GOAT.
What's that? No. Okay, here's the deal. Let me ask you a question.
Uh-huh.
You ever went back into your archives and you look at Michael Jordan?
I didn't say he was my GOAT. I didn't say it was my GOAT. I just said some people do.
I didn't say that either.
I have gone back.
You
I've watched
said-
whole games. I've watched
You
whole.
said the LeBron haters.
I've watched whole series.
I'm not saying that. My point is, Jordan never said, when they always talked to him about being the greatest player, he always stated, say that because of the people that came before me. I understand you.
LeBron bigs up the people before him as well, though.
Huh?
LeBron bigs up the people that came before him.
Right, but that the fact of the shop, that for me was what did it. Was like, oh, when we won in Cleveland, that made me the GOAT right there. Like, dude, even if you feel it, don't say it. Don't try to, you know. It's like everything he's trying to do. But on your point, that was a great performance, and it's wasted, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah.
Because I don't know how far he's gonna go. You know, it's like he does a great performance, and then there's this load management. And, you know, I was very shocked to see that he's number 2 in scoring. So now it looks like, are you trying to stat pad a little bit? Are you going for the scoring title? Because you don't feel like you got a good chance in the playoffs? Because that's going to be a feat, right? You know, I think that, I don't know the oldest scoring title person, if that was Michael or whoever. But for him to get a scoring title at 37, that would be pretty impressive. So it pads the stats for him in that favor.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna leave you on your LeBron tip because I didn't call here to bash LeBron. I'm gonna leave him alone. It was a great performance. You ready, baby? You ready for them? You ready for them? That Brooklyn team coming to Philly?
Oh, we're not worried about
Huh?
that. We're not worried about that on Thursday. We're not.
Oh, really? So that's how we doing it?
We're not worried about that.
Oh,
And
that's
I'm
how we
gonna
doing
tell
it?
you why. It's
Okay.
not that we're not worried. I think it's gonna be a great game either way. If the Nets win, I'm gonna say good game Nets. If the Sixers win, I'm gonna say good game Sixers. I think it's gonna be a really, really great game. I'm disappointed Ben Simmons is not playing, to be completely honest with you. But
he
I'm
has
also
mental problems.
I'm not.
He can't talk about people that have mental problems. What's wrong with you all?
I'm not surprised he's not playing also. But I'm looking forward to it. I think after Kyrie went off for 50, I think he's gonna be, you know, he's clearly feeling good. And I think that's gonna be a really good game tomorrow.
I hope the protocol is dropped in Brooklyn so Kyrie can finish out the season.
Bro, I don't know if it's gonna be. Like, it's getting scary. I don't know.
COVID is over. Let's see what happens. People are opening up. I mean, seriously, COVID is over. People are opening up.
I mean, they are, but I don't know when they're going to lift this, whatever, like the private sector version of these mandates. There's no timeline out on it yet.
It's coming. Don't worry. Don't worry. You'll see it soon. So, with that being said, before I get off, because I don't want to take all your thunder.
Uh-huh.
You ready for a Brooklyn Nets Miami Heat first round. You ready for that smoke?
I'm ready. I think Miami is ready.
Yeah.
Is Brooklyn ready?
What? Stop it. Stop it, Hawk. And you see, this is the problem that I got with people. Y'all be sleeping on that Slim Reaper.
No. All right, let me be real, Jason. Let me be real. So a couple weeks ago, I did a bracket, and I was going through my playoff predictions, and I had the Nets going all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I had them beat Miami in either 6 or 7, depending. Because I've always been, KD's my favorite player. You know what I mean? As much as I hate on Brooklyn from time to time, Kevin Durant's my favorite player. He's been my favorite player since he got drafted by the Sonics. Like, that's my guy. So if Kevin Durant's on your team, he can drop 80 every game if he wanted to, and you're going to have a chance to win a game. So, you know what I mean? I think they could beat the Miami Heat. I think it still would be a good series. I think it would be a close series because while Kevin Durant is still Kevin Durant, Kyrie's Kyrie, I mean, after that, the drop-off is serious. I think Seth Curry is going to be huge for them. If they didn't make that trade and didn't get Seth as a part of that and he wasn't looking so good, I'd be a little bit more worried. But, I mean, the two of them do look really, really good together.
Let's go. Let's go Nets. So let's go Hawks. Let's talk more positive about the Nets. And your Sixers people over there, let's slow that down a little bit there, Hawks. But, yeah, I'm liking where they're going.
I'm liking where they're going. I think the Heat could surprise them, though. I think some Brooklyn Nets fans are sleeping on how tough it's going to be if they do play against the Heat.
Nah, he's Kevin Durant. I really am not worried about anybody, to be quite honest with you. Maybe outside, because I think Milwaukee's peaking right now. And sometimes it's a thing where you could peak a little bit too early. Like, I really feel that LA, once they get Anthony Davis back, you're going to see them peak and they can go on a run. Right?
I mean, yeah.
Coming
this is the time when players want to get on run.
Exactly. Yeah. So Miami's peaking right now. Let's see how that goes. You know, let's see how that wave is gonna go. Once it comes to playoff time. That's a tough first round matchup for them to go up against Brooklyn. And if they get through, you know, second round might not be so bad. You figure you're gonna get to Giannis and them boys by the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
And even though Giannis has been playing great basketball, I think a lot of people sleep on what a big deal. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of people. I guess Hoopers would know, you know, the Chris Middleton and what's the other guy that they got from Drew Holiday. You know, those acquisitions are very huge for that team. And you know, like Chris Middleton went off the other day when Giannis got fouled out of the game, and he doesn't get a lot of credit. You know, that being said, I do want to just leave one note. Maybe not for this show, but we can talk about it hopefully another time.
Uh-huh.
I always hear these arguments, you know, now lately about the GOAT arguments with Michael Jordan and all these Hall of Famers, you know, of course now Tony Kukoc and Dennis Rodman or whatever, and Scottie Pippen. And I kind of went through a little bit of homework. I realized that, wait a minute, the bad boy Pistons had some good Hall of Famers on their team too, like about 3 or 4 with Isaiah Thomas. And even though Isaiah Thomas hates a lot on Michael Jordan because he got left off the Dream Team, I'm like, I wonder when the story is told, how many Hall of Famers are going to be on the teams that LeBron played with to get to these rings? And that being said, I think this was a failed situation for him now with Westbrook. I really think he wanted this championship bad to show like, hey, I won with KD and I also won with Russ. And the marriage is just not working out in LA. So it's going to, you know, it's a shame. I think Russell, as a great player as he is, you know, 75 player, it's a shame how this man just went to LeBron. And once again, as my cousin always says, he kills talent. It's a shame to see what's happened to Russell Westbrook.
I'm not putting Russ's situation on Bron, though, to be honest with you.
Who you putting it on?
I'm putting it on they don't fit together. I'm not putting it on either of them. I'm putting it on. I mean, you can put the GM side of LeBron James's game. The fact that, you know, the teams ask him who he wants, you can put some of that on that. But them on the court or LeBron holding him back as in terms of actually on the court, I'm not putting that on Brian. I like I said, you can put the GM side of things because we all knew in the summer when they announced the trade, everyone, literally, I said it, you said it, we all said it. What is this team composition? It doesn't work. They're not going to fit on the court. So we all knew that going into it before. That's why I'm not putting it on LeBron's shoulders as in he's ruined Russ's career. They should have never traded for him in the first place. So you can put it on Pelinka, you can put it on Jeannie Buss, you can put it on the Lakers, front office. I'm putting it on them before I put all of this on LeBron James because they're the ones who made the trade.
I'm not putting all on LeBron. He has some stuff too because he had to sign off on that trade.
Yeah, he signed off on it, but he's not the end all be all decision maker. He's not the one who signs his name isn't on the signature paperwork. It's two GMs' names who signed the paperwork to make the trade happen.
Absolutely. But I think he wanted to do this because if he was able to win with Russ, that's like a feather in his hat, right? It's just like when they won in Cleveland. Everybody's like, man, Bron came back home and won it in Cleveland. Kyrie had a lot of work to do with that. You know what I'm saying? And even though he's a little bit wonky, to some degree. So I'm not gonna hold everything on Kyrie. I don't want to take up too much time on your show. I apologize.
No problem, man.
I think he's a very misunderstood person. Like if you look at all this COVID situation now, it's amazing how everybody's just opening up everything, right? And all he wanted to do, which point where outside players who are unvaccinated could come into Brooklyn and play, but a guy that's not vaccinated can't play in home games. What sense does that make? Right? And he was bringing up a point. A lot of that stuff wasn't said before until Adam Silver said something, and now they're trying to push pressure on New York City to allow him to play. So he was following the rules of the NBA, right? If you want me to wear a mask at home, fine. Why can't I play if an unvaccinated player can come from outside, whether Indiana or wherever, and play in my stadium, but I can't play in my own stadium? What he does makes people feel uncomfortable. Is he self-absorbed? Absolutely. But which one of these guys aren't egotistical and self-absorbed? I'm pretty sure James Harden is having a wonderful time in the strip club in Philadelphia right now. However, he's showing up to play. The minute that he's unhappy, are we going to see Fat James again? He has to live with that because he's done that in 2 locations that he went to.
I mean, potentially.
And this is what it is. LeBron James is the same thing. When he's not happy, what does he do? He blames the team that's around him. Who's the orchestrator of these teams? LeBron James. So you can't want to orchestrate the team and then blame Kevin Love is old. I got to move on. The Cavs aren't getting me help. You understand what I'm saying? So when I look at this, I don't put everything on him. Well, go ahead. What's the no?
Well, right. So you say yes. LeBron puts together these teams. And then when the teams start to work, maybe LeBron says it's time for me to move on, right? But when LeBron is there, the teams are willing to put together these teams around him because they realize LeBron's one of the best players in basketball right now. And arguably, you can make the argument LeBron's been the best player in basketball literally for the last 10 to 15 years. You can legit make that argument. You can have some years in there in between where you can say, okay, maybe it was KD this year, maybe it was James Harden another year, maybe it was somebody else another year. But there's always an argument that LeBron James could be the best player in the NBA for literally the last 15 years. And I don't think that's an exaggeration at all. So when he comes to your team, you realize, okay, we have a top 3 player. We're going to do everything we can to try to win a championship. And what did the Cavs do? They won a championship. Did they have to maybe make some sacrifice plays and stuff like that? Did they have maybe a year or 2 down when he left? Yeah, sure. Okay, but you know what they also got? They got a championship. Kyrie has a championship. Kevin Love has a championship. The city of Cleveland now has a sports title. And then look, oh, wow, a couple years later, we drafted well. And now look, we're the 4th, 5th team in the East right now. We have a very solid young core, bright future. So no, did he ruin that franchise? No. Everybody's talking about the Lakers. Oh, they traded away their future. They traded away Kuz. They traded away Ingram. They traded away Lonzo. They traded away Brandon Hart. They traded away all these draft picks. Oh, but what do you guys have? You have a 2020 championship. Oh, wow, look at that. You guys have Lakers have another championship. The city of Los Angeles has another championship. So, yes, is it looking bad now? Maybe they'll have a bad future in a couple years, but they have a championship. The Miami Heat. Oh, wow. Everyone blamed him for leaving them when he going back to Cleveland. What does Miami have? 2 more championships. And look, Miami never even really tanked. They might have had a down year or two, but if Chris Paul never had no heart problems, they probably would have been good the whole time they were there. And now look, Miami Heat, the best team in the Eastern Conference with the best record and actual title contenders, if you ask me. So the thought that LeBron James comes in and ruins his franchises makes absolutely no sense to me, because all I just announced was 3 different teams he gave a championship to.
Hey, 3 different teams that when he leaves was bad, and it took them time to get back up. You making it seem like the minute he left, everything was good. Cleveland took time.
I just said Cleveland was down for a couple years.
Okay, well, down for a couple of years. They're there. Do you think Cleveland's going to be a contender? And the same thing's going to happen in L.A. The same thing. Look how long he's been gone from Miami, Hawk. Miami made it to the bubble championship. Do we really consider that a championship?
Yes, we do. Thank you for bringing this up. I'm sick of everybody saying the bubble isn't a championship. All these teams were under the same circumstances. Everybody was under the same circumstances in the bubble. Everybody was shut down for months because of COVID. Everybody was stuck in Orlando. Everybody couldn't see their families. Everybody had the same situation. So yes, when you just play the players who are in front of you, I say it all the time. I say this at least weekly. You play the players who are in front of you. So if the players who are in front of me are all in the same bubble that I am, all can't see our wives like I can't, all can't see our kids like I can't, all can't have our $1 million mansions like I can't, we're all in the same spaces, then yes, I'm playing the players who are in front of me. And if I happen to win in the situation where I'm playing the players in front of me, that's what happens. I just won.
So you really think to tell me no COVID? You see Miami getting to the East? You see them getting to the NBA Finals?
I'm telling you,
no COVID.
Life happened, and you play the players who are in front of you. That's what I'm telling you.
And life happened. He just conditioned his players like, look, we can
life
get a championship.
We can you play the players who are in front of you. That's what I believe.
Go out the way.
That's what I believe. Life happened. You play the players who are in front of you.
He got 4. I'm gonna give it to him because I had to give it to Tim Duncan because he got 5, and his was a shortened season too. Okay. Nobody takes away his 5. So
exactly. Nobody takes away his 5, and he played in a lockout year as well.
It's a bubble championship.
Exactly.
It was a lockout year, yes. But that was a bubble championship in Florida. I don't know. It is what it is. He got his 4. It's a part of his thing. He wanted the first player to win in three different cities. But the teams are built to him. They go down, and they come back up eventually, but they're never at the level that they probably could have been if you would have kept them together. That's my point about it. Hey, what's he going to do now? We'll see. I think the Lakers are going to trade him. I think if they're smart enough, they will and try to get some draft capital for him because he is a blockbuster person, right? He's going to go out there, and the one thing you know, the stadium is going to sell out. It's like Jordan with the Wizards. People are going to come and see him. You know what I'm saying? Because he's still a top 2 or top 3 player. All right? He's LeBron James. He still carries that stuff like you stated. However, I think the time in LA is done. They're not going to be able to get nobody. He's going to want to go. Where does he go from here? I don't know. But I think it's a little bit far-fetched to just, you take these times off, you come back, you drop your 50, you take time. Oh, these people is old. Anthony Davis is not stepping up. This is LeBron James. This is his history, right? Kevin Love was crap. Oh, Chris Bosh and D-Wade. D-Wade was getting old, so I don't want to run it back in Miami. I want to go get it for Cleveland. Kyrie's doing good. The credit goes to him. A lot of people don't give Kyrie that credit like he should get for being on those big 3. Did a lot on that team.
They do give Kyrie his credit. You know why they give Kyrie his credit? Because everyone says LeBron wouldn't even have that chip without Kyrie because Kyrie hit that shot. That's how I know everyone gives Kyrie his credit, because they give him credit to discredit LeBron James. So Kyrie does get credit because they give him credit to not give LeBron credit instead of giving both players credit. Because I agree, both players were equally influential in that series, especially in that final series. Kyrie was dropping 40.
He don't hit. Exactly. Kyrie was doing a lot of stuff. You heard what he said when he went back to Cleveland and they started booing his ass?
He was talking about the Celtics.
Hey.
He was talking about the Celtics.
Hey. No, I think that was in Cleveland. I don't think that was the Celtics.
You talking about the recent
I could
booze?
Be wrong, but he said, hey, when he went to Cleveland this year, they were booing him. They caught him on tape. He was like, you see, I bought them a championship, and this is how they treat me. It's the same thing like the Scottie Pippen thing. Everybody gives credit to who? Michael. Michael always gave credit to Scottie. When people talk about him, they talk about their 6 rings, right? You notice the Kareem argument doesn't happen in this generation. Magic has 5, right?
No,
but Magic had Kareem. The great players stand out to people. And I think that's why Kyrie wanted to do it with Kevin, to see, like, look, I was as much there with this, and I could do it without you and your shenanigans. So that's all I'm saying is that even though we look at Kyrie as a little bit touched, LeBron is touched too. But because he wins, it's like, oh, that's LeBron James, so we just got to leave it alone. That's all I'm saying. You can agree to disagree. That's just my thought on it. He is a great player. Top five to ever play this game. He's not my GOAT. My GOAT will always be number 23 from Chicago. Because that's what it is. I'd say his hunger, he was different. Him and Kobe were very different. They were more attackers, and that's not LeBron's game. You know, he's more of an all-around player. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that he's not great. He's not Showtime Magic, but he is definitely up there. And if you want to call him 2, I don't have a problem. If you want to call Jordan 1A and call him 1B, I don't have a problem with it. but I just don't see it. I don't see him. I always wondered what would happen if he even stayed in Miami. Forget because Miami never really felt like his team. You know what I'm saying? But if he would have stayed in Miami and then see what would have happened from there, I would have liked to see that more out of his career versus the, jumping here, taking players, leaving, going there. So, but that's just my opinion on it. But I still think the guy's a great player. I still think he's in the, he's probably top 3 in this league. He is definitely the face. Like me is KD. Some people say Giannis, but I think it's Steph Curry, to be honest with you. And, he's right there. LeBron James, I mean, come on, man. Steph Curry changed the league. The only person changed the league like Steph Curry was Shaquille O'Neal and Michael Jordan, in my opinion. Shaquille O'Neal forced you couldn't stay in the middle. Michael Jordan, the fadeaway. Everybody had that fadeaway, right? And the sticking out of the tongue. Steph Curry, everybody shooting from the logo. You saw what Dodd did last night?
Yeah.
Everybody is shooting from there. Nobody was shooting from there in my day. And that light-skinned brother just changed the league. He's the greatest shooter I've ever seen of all time.
Facts.
Can't take anything. Can't take anything. The prettiest jumper ever, Ray Allen. The best shooter, Steph Curry. It is what it is. So to me, this is the league. I think it's in good hands. I like where it's going. I don't hate LeBron. Only thing for me is don't self-proclaim yourself the GOAT. My GOAT didn't do that, right? And to the older generation that say, hey, Kareem, Dr. J, you saw them differently than I did. You know what I'm saying? I never saw a big man. He still needed somebody to give him the ball. MJ didn't need that, right? So, he had a defensive player. He did it on both ends. And he played 82 games. How many 82-game seasons did he play? Look at all the load management these guys are doing. It's just a different game.
It is a different game across the board.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, man. Took up a lot of your time. But as always, Hawk, you are the best, man. Have a good one.
Thank you for calling in, Jason. Later, man.
All right.
Jason got me all riled up talking about LeBron James at the beginning of the show. And the funny part is, I'm going to tell y'all right now, I'm going to clip that. And y'all going to see that clip in a day or two. And a lot of people, I think that I think LeBron James is my GOAT. He's not. My GOAT is still Michael Jordan. But I do think LeBron James gets a lot of unwarranted and unnecessary hate in the NBA community, and I honestly don't understand it. Because if you ask me, he's the second best player of all time. And if you have him as your GOAT, I'm not going to argue you down because I see the argument for it. I really, really do. Let's look at these comments real quick. Let's see. Triple OG, me and my family watching the Lakers game, and they all hate LeBron, but man, it's beautiful to see him score 50 in there on the favorite team. Oh, that's actually pretty dope. Leo says, I think the exact same thing about Kevin Durant. He's made to weird moves, but he's the GOAT for me. Understandable. Leo says it's Russ. He's always done this. The field goal percentage, 3-point percentage. But to be honest, dude, been playing a little bit too argumentative. We're going to talk about Russ in a little bit, actually. Russ only lost some athleticism. I mean, that's understandable, especially with age. AJ says Warriors can make the finals. Warriors aren't fully healthy yet. I ain't gonna cap, AJ. You got clickbaited. I want to talk about what people are saying about the Warriors not making the finals. But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're missing Draymond Green. Baby Rage, thanks for pulling up to the stream. What are y'all talking about? Jason coming through with another Giannis take. Basically, yeah, Jason came through with a mini Giannis take. Some interesting LeBron takes. Saying LeBron guts franchises. that was going viral a couple weeks ago. That tweet of saying basically how LeBron comes to your team, makes you trade away all your draft assets, makes you trade away your young players, and then your team ends up, with nothing afterwards. And my counter to that, then when I saw that tweet and then the conversation I just had with Jason is that, yeah, you trade away your assets when you get LeBron James because you have LeBron James, you have the opportunity to win a championship. And not many teams have the opportunity to win a championship. I mean, heck, just in the last, the last 10 years, I want to say, I remember seeing that stat maybe like a year or two ago. But like, it was like 3 teams that have won championships in like the last 10 years. It was the Warriors, it was the Cavs, the Raptors, the Lakers. Who else won in the last, since last year's, that's 2012. All right. But then that's more LeBron teams. That's the Heat. So you know what I'm saying? Like, the reason teams trade away everything to try to, when they have LeBron, is because, I mean, at least especially when he was in the Eastern Conference, having LeBron on your team, meaning you had a punched ticket to the NBA Finals. When LeBron was in your team, you can go ahead and punch your ticket because you're going to the finals. The Heat went 4 years in a row. The Cavs go every year he's there. 8 years in a row with the finals. That's why teams trade everything they have. When LeBron's in your team, that's why. LA, he gets there. The first year, okay, they still got the young guys. Doesn't necessarily work. LeBron's injured. You trade away them young guys. You pick up Anthony Davis. What do you have? A championship. Like, I mean, I don't really want to harp on this for too long. I got other things on the docket that I want to talk about today, but like, it's got to stop. At some point, it's got to stop. Y'all turning me into a LeBron defender, and that's not who I am. It's really not. LeBron was never my favorite player. LeBron is still not my favorite player. I respect his game a lot, though. And you got to put some respect on his game. Teams make moves to win. That's just what they do. Teams make moves to win. You know who also did that? The Brooklyn Nets. Kevin Durant goes there. Kyrie goes there. They sign for a lot of money. They move. They make some moves, make some trades, gut their team. Because remember, let's talk about it real quick. Y'all remember how we all loved the Brooklyn Nets a couple years ago? When they had that real young, scrappy team with D'Lo, Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, Jarrett Allen. We were all talking about how great that young, gritty, hungry Brooklyn Nets team was. And then what happens? One of the best players in the NBA decides to come to that team. Kevin Durant says, I want to go to Brooklyn. Kyrie says, I want to come to Brooklyn too. Okay, so we got to move these young pieces because we have an opportunity to have some of the best basketball players ever come to our team. Okay, James Harden, we got an opportunity to trade for him. Let's move some more pieces. Let's go all in on an opportunity to win a championship, because that's what it's about, right? That's what we all say it's about, right? Because whenever I try to have a conversation about any other player, it's always, whenever, because everybody says, well, MJ got 6. Well, Bill Russell has 11, and no one's calling him the GOAT. Bill got 11, so he's the, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to make that so much of an over-exaggeration, but obviously the goal is to win a championship. So when your team has the opportunity to win a championship, you make all the moves you can, right? Right? The Brooklyn Nets went all in, and Kevin Durant was coming off of an Achilles injury. We didn't even know what he was going to look like. And that's my point with LeBron James. When he's on your team, you're going to make the moves that you have to make to try to win a championship, because that's how good some of these players are. Like, I don't understand. That's what the Sixers did. They saw how great Joel Embiid is playing. They said, all right, let's make some moves. Let's try to go all in. Let's get James Harden. Let's make a gamble. We'll see if it works. They did the same thing before. Let's make a gamble. Let's trade for Tobias Harris. Let's trade for Jimmy Butler. That was a big gamble. They were trying to go all in. Jimmy up and walked. All them trade assets we moved for Jimmy, them picks, the players, just lost. Like that. Had to sign Tobias Harris to an overpriced contract because you didn't want to lose him too. That's the game, people. That's the game. That's the game. You do that to try to win championships. You go all in. Sometimes it works and you win a championship. Sometimes it doesn't work and you don't win a championship. But you know what? You got to try. Because if you don't try, you just turn into a mediocre team. And that superstar is going to want to leave anyway because they're going to feel like the team isn't trying to win. That's the game. That's the NBA right now. I don't know how else to put it, but that's just the NBA right now. Leo says, this man can't be wrong. Keep your peace of mind. I mean, Jason's my guy. Like, I know him in real life. Like, me and him have conversations all the time. So it's all love. You know what I mean? It's always all love between me and Jason. But, and all that energy wasn't even just towards him. I've been feeling that. Clearly, I've been feeling that for a while and just had to get that off my chest. The Heat were able to seed without him. Didn't with a chip, but still did good. Rage. Took the words right out my mouth. Let's get into the docket, y'all. I got a lot of notes I wanted to talk about. And we've been... we done spent the first 30 minutes talking about LeBron James. I feel like ESPN. All right, I'm gonna cut this music down a little bit because I want to talk about. This is the defending player segment because now it's not me defending Russ. I have some opinions on Russell Westbrook's comments that he had the other day after talking about essentially. Basically, people making fun of his name for the Westbrook comments, and I just let's just listen to what he had to say, and then I'll go from there. Can y'all hear this?
Russ, just
boom
off the court. Your wife had a social media thread today that I think gave some open kind of a window to some of the extreme things that have happened to your family this season. People kind of talking.
My career, you mean?
Well, it seemed like it was about this season, but I was wondering if there was anything you could speak to that.
Yeah, I think, for one, I 100% stand behind my wife and how she's feeling because it's not just about this year. Right now, she's reached a point, and my family has reached a point to where it's really weighing on them, and it's very unfortunate, just for me personally, because this is just a game. This is just a game. This is not end-all, be-all, and when it comes to basketball, I don't mind the criticism of missing and making shots, but the moment it becomes where my name is getting shamed, it becomes a issue. I've kind of let it go in the past, just because it never really bothered me, but it really kind of hit me the other day. Honestly, I was, me and my wife was at teacher-parent conference for my son, and the teacher told me, she's like, Noah, he's so proud of his last name. He writes it everywhere. He writes it on everything. He tells everybody, he walks around and says, I'm Westbrook, that's his last name. And I kind of sat there in shock, and it hit me like, damn, like I can no longer allow people, for example, Westbrook to me is now shaming, like it's shaming my name. It's my legacy for my kids. It's a name that means more, not just to me, but to my wife, to my mom, my dad, the ones that kind of paved the way for me. And that's just one example, man, that kind of hit myself and my wife in a place where it's not great, man. And I think a lot of times, I let it slide, but it's now time to put a stop to that and put it on notice. Like, there's a difference, and we need to make sure that it's understood. And every time I do hear it now, I will make sure that I address it and make sure that I nip that in the butt.
All right, so Russ, he has some issues, whatever, with the whole Westbrook situation. Oh, Citrus. Yo, I F with the videos, man. Keep up the grind. I've been wanting to start a podcast for a while now. I just wanted to save up a little money. Hey, appreciate the love, man. Appreciate the love for real. Yeah, we gonna keep the grind going. This channel gonna be something someday, you feel me? It's something now, you feel me? I'm gonna take this, the success I got now. I appreciate the people who pull up to the stream every week. We I think like 1,800 subscribers. Every video y'all watch, every short, every clip, pull it up, liking the stream, whatever. For real, I always appreciate that. And Citrus, go for it, bro. I tell people all the time, if you want to create content, if you want to get in the content creation game, go for it, because there are, like 8 billion people in the world right now? There's enough people to watch everybody, you feel me? Anybody who's got a goal or whatever that want to create something, go out there and do something. It's enough people that you just got to find your audience, you know what I mean? And the audience comes from consistency, grinding, you know what I mean? Making sure you continuously putting stuff out there, but it's a lane for you for sure, bro. I don't, that's what I tell myself almost every day. If a video don't hit like I thought it was, be like, hey, it's 8 billion people in the world. Somebody going Somebody gonna find it. Somebody gonna like it. Because also know why? Because almost every week I find a different, usually NBA creator, because I assume a lot of basketball content. But almost every week I find a new creator who I'll be like, who is this? I ain't never heard of this. Oh, this content is dope. Oh, they got 1 million subscribers. Or, oh, they got 1 million on TikTok. They got 500,000 subscribers. Oh, they do this full time. And it's somebody who I never heard of. And mind you, I consume a lot of NBA content. So, like I said, it's a lane for everybody if you want to do it. So, good luck, Citrus. But getting back to talking about Russ, right? I was split on this at first, to be honest with you. Because on one hand, I get it. On one hand, it's definitely frustrating. Is on his part, I'm saying I could see the frustration. There was talk of, I couldn't find the exact ones, but I was reading articles and listening to other podcasts. There was talks of like death threats to his family, to his wife, to his kids because of his performance. And let me just start off the jump. If you throwing death threats to either a player or a player's family because they're not playing a playground game well, I mean, yeah, they make millions doing it and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's a playground game of basketball that any of us can go lace up and go play right now. We all playing basketball. So if you throwing death threats to somebody you don't even know for real in real life over a childhood game, there's something wrong with you. You know what I mean? But once I got past that point, honestly, I was disappointed at Westbrook for saying this. I really was. And the reason is he's talking about, everybody disrespecting his name. This ain't fair. This ain't right. But that's just what NBA fans do. That's 21st century internet culture. That's Twitter culture. That's troll culture. I wouldn't even necessarily call it troll culture. That's just NBA culture. We call LeBron, even just now, I called LeBron the GM. They call him LeBum. They call him LeBrick. They call Anthony Davis A Disney because of the bubble championship that we was just talking about with Jason. Like players get called stuff, nicknames all the, you know what I mean? Like DeMar DeFrozen, when DeMar was having some bad games back in his Toronto days, they were calling him DeMar DeFrozen. The more I see it, the less I like it. Like these nicknames that are insults essentially just come with the territory. I don't know what they were back in the day, but I guarantee you they were doing them back in the day too. In the 80s and the 90s, early 2000s, the internet wasn't popping like that, but I'm sure there were people chanting stuff in the stands. Like Baby Rage said, that's the game. That's the game, Russ. Russ, that's the game. And people calling you Westbrook and stuff like that, it's because you're missing shots, Russ. They're gonna call you Westbrook because you're missing shots, and it's not, you're missing shots badly. And Russ, I'm a Russ fan. I just told y'all how much I rock with KD. It's because I'm a Thunder fan. Sixers is my main team, but I got a soft spot for the Thunder. I mean, mainly only because I was born in Oklahoma. But that connection, I watched those guys play. I watched those guys play when they were young, and then they grew up. They go to the championship in 2012, and they don't win, and Russ has his triple-double years. Like, I'm a Russ guy. Russ is my guy. I love the way he plays. It sucks that he's just not fitting with the Lakers, and he can't hit a shot, and he's not even finishing well at the rim. I'll be honest, he don't look good. He don't. Now, his field goal percentage is technically, when you really get into the nitty-gritty of it, is only slightly lower than his previous seasons, but that's also because he's not an efficient player. He never has been. He's not an efficient player. Russ has never really been an efficient player. So, but that's also why I didn't think the Lakers fit was going to work in the first place, right? And so then Russ continued talking about, the slander of his name is not fair, this, that, and the third. But Russ, me being a Thunder fan, I remember, Russ. And now, Russ, you just look like a hypocrite. Because when Kevin Durant left, right? When Kevin Durant left, what did Russ put up that same year, that 4th of July? These cupcakes, saying have a cupcake on 4th of July. And then that turned into this. Kevin Durant comes to Oklahoma when the Warriors play the Thunder, that first home game, and everybody's calling him Cupcake. This whole Kevin Durant's a cupcake thing gets started in OKC, and all the fans are embracing it, and they were calling KD a cupcake. They were. Because, rightfully so, from what it looked like from the outside looking in the words of Damian Lillard, he was running from the grind. So, Russ, you can't be a part of literally creating this cupcake cupcake meme, this cupcake narrative for Kevin Durant, what was that, 5, 6, 7 years ago? And then now, like, hey, man, yada, yada, yada. And I get it. People grow, you know. I don't think he had kids then at this point. So now he's talking about his son and how much he loves his last name. And I get that to an extent. I do get that. You know, it sucks because if his kids really are, feel like they're getting bullied or whatever, yada, yada, that sucks, right? For people to maybe attack your children and stuff, right? But also, it halfway kind of sort of feels like you're hiding behind your kids. I don't know if that makes full sense, but it almost feels like he's hiding behind his kids, and that's not really what we're here for either, man. If you play better, you don't have these problems. Like, you don't. Rage says you're not getting called. You're getting called. You're not getting called West Splash if you brick it. That's facts, bro. Triple OG, imagine getting called a cupcake like he's just darn terrible with the goofy fans. Using his kids, maybe. Yeah, Rage, I don't know if it's using his kids. I mean, he might legit have a concern for his children's, I don't know if I'm gonna say mental well-being or want to shield them from bullying. Like, that's a solid point. And as someone who, I don't have any kids, I'm not a father, yada yada, I was listening to The Mismatch, the Ringers podcast called The Mismatch with Kevin O'Connor and Chris Vernon. Really good podcast. If you don't listen to that, I suggest that as well. Like I said, I consume a lot of NBA content. But I was listening to that yesterday, and they were talking about this for a little bit, and I was really curious to see what Chris Vernon had to say about it, because he has kids, you know what I mean? He has 2 sons. And he's in the public eye, not as much as Westbrook, but I mean, he's an NBA content creator. He talks about the NBA. He's works closely with the Memphis Grizzlies, hosts a couple of their shows. And if there's been times where he said there's been times when his kids was like, Daddy, why are they saying this about you on Twitter? Or Dad, why are they saying this about you on the internet, whatever. And he basically was like, hey, had to teach his son to be like, don't worry about that. Don't focus on that. I don't focus on that. I only care about you, your mom, my wife, our friends, our family. That's what really matters. Them people on the internet, we don't know them. They don't really matter. So, I mean, he could have went about it that way. I feel like there's other ways he could have did that. It's other ways he could have went into handling that. And I get it. The reporter asked the question, and he could have just started with he could have started it, ended it with the death threats part. Like I said, I haven't seen those. I wasn't able to find them. But if that was a thing, he could have started it, and ended it with the death threats. Be like, hey, that's not cool. That's not what we're here for. Like, you're talking about real people. This is our real lives. This is my real wife. These are my real kids. We're not doing that. And that I would have respected, right? But to then tie that into the taunting, the Westbrook stuff, the story about how much his kids love his last name. And I'm not even trying. These was probably all legit stories. The parent-teacher conference, the teacher probably said, your son is very proud to be a Westbrook. He's very proud of his father. But also, internet culture is a thing. So people are going to call you Westbrook. And you know what's even wilder about this? Because of how the internet works? Why you let them know what bothers you, Russ? Why'd you let them know what bothers you? Because I guarantee you now, it's going to be even crazier. Have a game where you have 8 turnovers. Have a game where you go 3 for 12. Do another one of those games. I guarantee you it's going to be crazier. Just play better, bro. That would have been my thought process solution. Play better. And just prove them wrong. Because that would have been the bigger response. I think that would have had the better impact instead of, and I don't want to say it like this, but instead of complaining and complaining, just play better, show up, hoop, ball out, and then nobody would have had nothing to say. No one would have had nothing to say. OG, basically, we were just talking about Russ. We were talking about Russ's comments about people calling him Westbrook, and I thought it was, I didn't think it was the right move to make. I'll say that. I didn't think it was the right move to make. Because you also want to know why it's not the right move to make. I just said how grateful I am for the, you know, the following that I do have, the channel that I do have. Even in my videos, right? That don't even be going viral or nothing like that. In my videos, people will be like, this fat boy don't know nothing about basketball. He don't know nothing about basketball. Look at him. He don't know how to shoot. He don't know how to dribble a ball. He don't know what he doing. He don't know what he talking about. Do I care? No. You know why? Because I know that's the internet. And I know when you put yourself out there in the public eye, you gonna get some people like that. Rage. I'm gonna end it on what Rage just said, and I'm going to my next topic because I'm done. I'm done with this one. Y'all catching me on the. I got a lot of energy today. Clearly, between the starting about LeBron and then I had Russ at the top of the show, the energy's high today, man. I'm gonna read what Rage said. I'm gonna move on. Rage says Westbrook could have executed it better. I agree, 1000%. Could have just executed it better. All right, next thing on the docket. Ooh, I definitely hit that mic. Sorry if that was loud, y'all. The next thing on the docket, it's in the title. Warriors aren't making the finals, right? I've been seeing this a lot. People are worried about the Warriors. They're 3-7 in their last 10. The offense doesn't look as clean as it used to. The defense definitely doesn't look as clean as it used to. And I've heard people ask me, well, not heard, I've had people ask me, should the Warriors bring Klay Thompson off the bench? He's not looking as good as he has in the past. I wouldn't go that far personally. Personally, I'm not going that far. To me, the Warriors don't win a championship if Klay Thompson's coming off the bench. Klay Thompson has to be Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson has to be in the starting lineup for the Warriors to have legitimate championship aspirations and an opportunity to win a championship. Rage, I agree. Steph Curry isn't playing like he used to. Steph Curry doesn't look like he used to. Klay doesn't look like he used to. And then the thought process of bringing Klay off the bench. What are you starting Jordan Poole? Like, I mean, Poole's having a great season. Don't get me wrong. Poole's not a starting caliber point guard, starting shooting guard on the championship team. And I'm gonna tell you what they're missing, right? I'm gonna tell you because people don't. I don't know if people aren't seeing it and whatnot. And yes, Klay Thompson is focused on getting his rhythm back. You see him doing a lot of off the dribble stuff still, a lot of work in the post fades, one dribble pull-ups. You could tell he's not himself, right? Rage says Steve Kerr's not making the right plays. The offense does look a little stagnant. Doesn't look like its usual offense, right? Y'all want to know why? Do y'all want to know why? It's because they're missing Draymond Green. It sounds simple. It sounds like, what? One player makes all this impact? Yes. The Warriors look bad solely, in my opinion at least, solely because they're missing Draymond Green. If Draymond can come back, however Draymond comes back, if he's looking like himself, I guarantee you a week after he's back, we're going to start to hear, oh, the Warriors are back. Oh, the Warriors are like championship contenders again. Oh, the Warriors are back. Because Draymond is that important. I pulled some stuff together because I really wanted to hit this point home with y'all, right? Earlier in the season, so Draymond played 34 games before he went down January 10th or January 14th, somewhere around there he went down. They were 28-6. That was 80% win percentage, on pace to win 60 games. They were on pace to have a crazy season. They had, let me pull it up. When they had Draymond, right? They had the number one defense in the NBA. They had they had the 11th best offense, but had the number one defense in the NBA. Without Draymond, since he's been gone, they have the 14th best defense in the NBA. They have the 15th best offense in the NBA. You can't tell me Draymond's impact, they're not missing it on both sides of the court, offense and defense. So much of Draymond's game is when Steph needs an outlet, when Steph needs someone who to pass the ball to, because teams are rightfully so doubling, tripling him. You hit Draymond in the high post, and he makes the right read. Whether that's Andrew Wiggins on the backdoor lob, whether that's Jordan Poole in the corner open for three, whether that's Klay Thompson on the wing for three, Draymond makes those reads all the time for the Golden State Warriors. And yeah, Triple OG said, triple single machine, Draymond. That's facts. So a lot of people, and I don't think you mean this, Triple OG. Please don't take what I'm about to say thinking you mean this, but a lot of people just see his stats and they see the triple single. They were like, who's really missing 7 points, 6 boards, whatever he's, averaging right now off the top of my head. Like who's missing that for real? A lot of people think that. Who's missing 7 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists? Who's really missing that? The Warriors are missing that. That's who. The Warriors are missing that because he's so much to that team. He's so much in terms of the reads he makes, the chatter he has on defense of telling players where to be, being the basically free safety on the defensive end to say, hey, Wiggs, switch there, Wiggs, step back, pull, watch there, Klay, on your back, Steph, hedge left, screen right. That's what Draymond does. You got to watch the Warriors to really understand the impact of Draymond Green, because if you just look at the box score at the end of the night, you're going to be like, okay, Steph had 30, Klay had 20, Poole had 15, Wiggins had 18, Draymond had 4, 5, and 5. But when you watch the game, Draymond was talking here, Draymond was hedging there, Draymond made the right read there, Draymond told that guy to cut here. Steph Curry is the fuel, Steph Curry's the engine, Steph Curry's the thing that keeps the Warriors locomotive going, right? But if Steph Curry's the engine, the powerhouse of the locomotive, Draymond's like at least the maintenance man or the foreman who keeps it all together. I mean, it might be a bad analogy, but it's the thing that's put in mind. Draymond's the mechanic who knows how to work the machine, who knows how to make the tweaks if something sounds off. When your car engine might have a thump in it, or something sounds weird, or it's squeaking a little bit. Draymond knows what that squeaking is, and he knows where to apply the right oil here, or turn that bolt, turn that knob here. And that's the fine-tuned adjustments Draymond can make in games to help the Warriors win. And they're really just missing that right now. And to me, that's the biggest issue with this Warriors team. Do they look bad right now? Yes, they look bad. They're 15-15 since he's been gone. They went from an 80% win team to a 50% win team. It's as clear as day for me, at least. It's as clear as day that they're obviously missing Draymond Green. And I was surprised when I was putting my notes together for today's show. I came across this little gem. Right here, right? Let me pull it up for y'all. Boom, bada bing.
By the way, I am projecting or targeting my return next Monday, the 14th, versus the Wizards. That is the date that I am targeting. I'm excited as hell. I mean, it's been 2.5 months, almost 2 months for sure, almost 2.5 by the time I play. I've never missed that much time during season. Now, I have once had an ankle injury that kept me out for a very long time in high school, but it was the off season. So this is something different for me. So I'm extremely excited to get back out there with my guys to try to help right this ship.
Right. So Draymond said himself, and I stumbled across that the other day. He's planning, hoping, trying to come back by March 15th, right? I couldn't rage. I could not find an update on Wiseman. I'm not sure what the current update is on him, and I was looking earlier. Okay, Wiseman center James Wiseman is cleared to play in G League games. He hasn't played for the Warriors yet, but I'll pull it up so y'all can see what I see. You know what I mean? Since we all here together, y'all can see what I'm looking at. Just real quick, trying to see if Wiseman's coming back anytime soon. Second-year center. So he's playing with the G League affiliate Santa Cruz. He's playing 2 games as part of his recovery. So it looks like he's about to play a couple of games with the G League, and they're going to reevaluate him and go from there. So, I mean, it could be the end of this month. Give it a week or two, we might see Wiseman back coming to the Golden State Warriors. We'll have to wait and see. My expectations on Wiseman when he's back, honestly, I don't know. It sucks to say because he hasn't played much, right? He only played like 39, 40 games. This article right here is saying 39 games last season. He looked okay. He definitely looked like he was still trying to figure things out. My initial thoughts with Wiseman, I don't expect to see a lot of him, to be honest with you. I personally, at least, unless he looks crazy good, like unless he really surprises us and looks really, really good, I don't expect to see a ton of him. I think they'll mix him in. They'll try to acclimate him in, but I think they're still going to lean on Kevin Looney a lot. With the return of Draymond, you're going to see a lot of small ball 5 with Draymond running a 5, especially to close out games if it's not against teams like either like Giannis, Jokic, or Embiid. But any other team, you can pretty much run Draymond or Karl-Anthony Towns too, but you get my point. I don't know if you're going to see him a lot, mainly because the Warriors already have a lot of stuff they got to tweak, right? We see the offense is lacking, the defense is lacking. Steph still doesn't look like himself to me. I think that's attributed to Draymond missing some time. Klay Thompson, we got to get him to get to just look like himself, period. Keeping in mind that he hasn't played for 2 years, so it's going to take some time. But I don't know if they're going to rush to get Wiseman in because a team like the Warriors that does have championship aspirations, that is trying to make it to the championship, it's not a lot of games left. So unless he's looking crazy good, if he has a couple of games where he is looking bad, you might see him less and less. And they might try to just say, hey, we're going to try to fit you in, Wiseman, but we're not going to sacrifice the chemistry of this team to fit you in. And I saw some people make the argument that, well, they did that with Klay Thompson, but Klay Thompson isn't James Wiseman. Or should I say James Wiseman isn't Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson, we know who he can be. We know who he is. We know what Game 6 Klay looks like. You know what I mean? We know who Klay Thompson is. We don't know who James Wiseman is yet. We saw him in college. He has some promise for sure. I think he'll be a solid NBA player in this league one day. But a team that's trying to gear back up to the playoffs and gear back up to championship contention isn't the type of team who wants to make a tweak as big as trying to make James Wiseman fit. So that's my 2 cents on expectations for James Wiseman. If we see Draymond back March 15th, give it a week or two. He finishes out the season well. Warriors string some wins along together. And we could be having a completely different conversation come, what's the season ends April 10th, right? Boom. So I'm just trying to see, we could be having a completely conversation April 6th at 8 o'clock, right before the season ends 4 weeks from now, when the Warriors are looking better, when the Warriors could be looking better because of Draymond. They could not be looking better because they didn't figure it out. But, I mean, if they stay at this 50% win pace, they're going to slide in the standings. They're definitely going to slide in the standings. They're going to risk where are they at right now? I want to say they're still, yeah, they could risk falling all the way to 4th. And that's only if they stay at this 50% win pace, because the other teams below them are playing better than them, in my opinion. The Jazz are looking really good right now. The Mavericks are looking really good right now. The Nuggets are looking really good right now. For perspective, in the last 10, the Warriors are 3-7. You know what? I'll show you. You know what I mean? Perspective. The Warriors in the last 10 are 3-7. The Jazz are 7-3, 8-2 from the Mavericks, 9-1 from the Nuggets. Now I don't see them sliding down this far, but I mean, it's a gap there, but it's not crazy, especially if they don't figure it out. So I hope they figure it out soon. Get something together. Triple OG, the Warriors are a big question mark. I agree. They are a big question mark. And I think a lot of that is predicated on what Draymond Green looks like when he returns. The next thing I want to talk about just real quick. Well, 2 things kind of, and I'll do the first one, the shorter one first. So Domantas Sabonis, he got a 1-game ejection for this. I just want to show it to y'all in case you haven't seen it. I completely understand the ejection. I get it. Makes sense to me. It's the rule. You can't touch the ref. He bumps into this ref here. That's a T. He gets ejected. And then he gets, the NBA announced that he's suspended.
I think the frustration stems from, if you look back to that last play,
I don't know if you can see it happen so fast. So we got teed. That little bump right there. You can't do that. You can't. NBA players aren't allowed to touch a ref. If you do, you get suspended a game or more sometimes. It's just trying to save them. OG, yeah, I see you talking about the stream seems to be lagging. I just apologize. I don't know what's going on. The Wi-Fi on my end, I think, is acting up because I even see it going in and out over here sometimes. Hopefully it doesn't continue to do that, but yeah. Dude, was y'all able to see the Sabonis video that I was trying to show y'all? Did y'all see that? Yeah, the stream might be lagging because that might be on me. I think I got a way to fix that for next week that shouldn't happen because I did notice that happen a couple times. Was y'all able to see the Sabonis video? All right, bet. So, Rage, the suspension is only because he touched the ref, right? And the phrase was demonstrative, meaning like overly aggressive, yada, yada, towards the ref. And I get that, right? The frustration was there for sure. I believe the play before he felt like he either didn't get a call or something like that the play before, then he gets called for something. So he was mad. And my thought is this, two things. One, Kings fans, Kings organization in general, this Halliburton trade is looking not smart anymore because they made the trade to try to make a push for the playoffs. It was clear to everybody in the NBA that the Kings were like, we need to make the playoffs. We need to end this drought. We need to make the playoffs. We've been in a drought forever, and they're literally winning at the exact same pace from before the trade. I want to say before the trade, it was like 38.7 win percentage. Since the trade, it's the exact same win percentage. And to be honest with you, I don't see them making a play-in. They are. I just had it up. The Kings are 24-43, 13th in the East. Put in perspective, the Pelicans are 27-38. While those aren't that crazy of games difference, the Pelicans are better, in my opinion. The Pelicans are a better team than the Kings. The Trailblazers are probably on the Kings level. Anthony Simons has been playing well. DeJounte Murray with the Spurs is ahead of them as well. I don't see the Kings making the playoffs. They haven't done anything. They haven't looked any better to me. Sabonis had a couple of good games, especially when he first got there. But they haven't looked any better. So my thing is, Kings should look dumb for making this trade. You traded away a player in Tyrese Halliburton who wanted to be there. He said it. The wild part is he said it like a couple days before the trade happened that, yeah, I want to be here. I want to change the stigma that is around the Kings, and I want to make this team a playoff team. I want to grow here. I want to be here. I want to lay roots in Sacramento. And you traded for a guy in Sabonis who, I'll be honest with you, I mean, he's locked up for, I want to say, for a couple more years. That was part of the reason why they traded him. But y'all think Sabonis is happy to be in Sacramento? Y'all think Sabonis wanted to be there? Y'all think Sabonis was hyped to get traded to Sacramento? I doubt it. So he's locked up for 2 more years after this. He's an unrestricted agent in 2024. But I doubt Sabonis was jumping for joy to get traded to the Sacramento Kings. I mean, the Pacers weren't amazing, but you know what the Pacers were? The Pacers were a playoff team. The Pacers, I mean, they were a mediocre playoff team, like usually a first-round exit, but they had made the playoffs the last couple of years. They likely would have been a playoff team moving. They didn't let everyone make it this year, but moving forward, they could have made some tweaks, continue to be a mediocre playoff team. And that mediocrity got him the opportunity to become an all-star because if your team's playing good, he's the best player on a solid team. He, became an all-star. I wouldn't be surprised if the Kings don't figure something out going into the next season because I'm going to tell you right now, I feel like only real NBA fans even knew who Sabonis was, right? The average NBA fan didn't know who Sabonis was. And that was when he was on a solid, half-decent team in Indiana. You get sent out to, and I hate this phrase, but I'm not going to say it because I hate it. You get sent out to a team who's not really achieving like that in Sacramento. And from a player's perspective, someone who used to be an all-star, now you're in the Western Conference, probably not going to make any more all-star appearances, at least while the Kings are this bad. Rage said it. He's locked up for 2 years. Imagine if he just demanded for a trade. Now, I don't know if he has that type of leverage. To be honest with you, like I don't think he has that type of leverage to demand a trade. Like if we hear Sabonis is sitting out, everybody's gonna be like, all right, Sabonis, go on and play. Like you ain't that nice, you feel me? But it was just something I was thinking about earlier today, and I was just like, I don't think he's happy there. I know I wouldn't be, because I feel like, yeah, Triple OG, I'd rather live in Sacramento than Indianapolis. I mean, Sacramento was a nice city. You in California, but you're also paying California taxes, which is wild. And you're not on a winning team. And I think the Pacers, like Rage just said, the Pacers have a better, Rapson7 said, the Pacers roster is very interesting. And I think the Pacers have a brighter future than the Kings after this trade. Now, I'm not saying I feel bad for Sabonis, but everybody was talking about the Halliburton side of that trade because he was such a Kings guy, because he was so all in Sacramento. And everybody was like, dang, this really is a business. And Halliburton got traded, and everybody's talking about him adjusting, and so many reporters are asking him of like, how's it feel to be here since you wanted to be in Sacramento, since you wanted to change that culture. And I don't know if people really took the time to think about the other person who was in that trade. I'm not saying Sabonis was as all in Indiana as maybe Halliburton was in Sacramento. He was very, but he was on a winning team. He was contributing to winning basketball. And if you're an NBA player, if you play basketball, you want to win games. Just something to think about. And then last on the docket today, I'm not going to go in as OG says, I'd want De'Aaron Fox to succeed so badly. He's a player you can't hate on. Facts. I like Fox. I like him a lot. I want him to succeed as well. I just hope the Kings can figure it out, because I think they still need to make a couple of moves to make that team a playoff team in the West. Honestly, in either conference. Both conferences are looking really good right now this year, especially. But when you think about the fact that the Blazers aren't a playoff team because the Dame's been out and the CJ trade, the Clippers are still a playoff team but aren't as good as they probably would have been. The Lakers don't look that great this season either. Like, when you just think about the Pelicans are a fringe playoff team, but if Zion ever does play, I guarantee you they're going to be more of a lock playoff team. I just don't know how much the trading for Sabonis really pushes their needle. And they could be really banking on the growth of De'Aaron Fox, the growth of Off Night. What is that man's name in real life? I'm only Off Night is coming to my mind. Davion Mitchell, excuse me. But I don't know how much he really pushes their ceiling to become a legitimate playoff team in the Western Conference. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, because I just really liked how interesting it is, right? I don't know any other word, any other phrase to say it besides interesting. Earlier in the season, I was talking about this team and how bad they were, how it wasn't like the new addition of their new head coach. Wow, this is crazy. What I'm about to say can actually apply for two teams. So I want to talk about two teams really quick. So earlier this season, there were two teams who I thought were underachieving, who I thought weren't playing up to the level of expectation that people had for them earlier in the season. I thought they both had new head coach decisions that I admittedly wasn't the happiest for and had some question marks about. And both of those teams are the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics. Earlier this season, in my opinion, both those teams were heavily underachieving. Weren't looking good. People were saying break up Brown and Tatum. People were saying Kristaps doesn't fit. Mavericks actually did ultimately decide to break up Kristaps and Luka because it wasn't working so much, or at least they felt it wasn't working so much. And the Boston side of things, I've talked about them before at length. It's obviously working now. Number one defense in the NBA, looking amazing. Tatum's playing great. Brown's playing great. They unlocked Time Lord. Al Horford almost looks like he took a time machine. He's looking like the younger version of himself. Marcus Smart is playing better. The Boston Celtics are looking really, really good right now. And honestly, I don't want to face them in the first round if I'm an Eastern Conference team. I don't know if they're title contenders or anything like that, but if they found a way to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me because they are a legit team out East. But I wanted to really focus on the Dallas Mavericks because going into like I said earlier in the season, they weren't looking good. I admittedly was not high on Jason Kidd. I didn't really have that much faith in him as a coach, to be completely honest with you. And then after reading, there was that ESPN article that came out. I want to say, was it back in either November or December-ish, talking about how much Luka and Rick Carlisle were butting heads. Because to be honest with you, I was surprised that they moved on from Rick Carlisle, championship caliber coach. I liked his coaching style. I thought he was a good coach. Turns out him and Luka were doing this all the time. And sometimes when you have a player as talented as Luka, if they're really like this with their coach, if it's not going to work, it's not going to work. And if you're going to, as a team, if you're going to move on from either your generational talent player or a really good coach, you're still probably going to let that really good coach go. So Jason Kidd comes in. It's not looking good earlier in the season. I wasn't loving them, to be honest with you. And then they make the trade for Davis Bertans and Spencer Dinwiddie. And I'll be honest, I was like, okay, Mavericks are packing it in. They're done. Mavericks are packing it in. They're like, hey, Luka, you take as far as you can. We'll figure something else out in the offseason. Because Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis, they weren't looking good. They were not looking good at all for the Washington Wizards. They just weren't. But since then, Spencer has looked really, really good. Spencer's looked good. The Mavericks offense has gotten better. Because one thing I said since the beginning of the season is Luka needs a secondary ball handler to just take the ball out of his hands from time to time. Just from time to time. Luka's still the ball dominant guy. Luka still has the ball in his hands for probably 70% of the Dallas Mavericks games. Maybe 60% of Dallas Mavericks games. But you get my point. Luka's still the guy. He's the primary ball handler. The offense still runs through Luka Doncic. But I always thought they needed a secondary ball handler. But when they made the trade for Spencer, I was like, nah, that's not it. That's not it. And Spencer's proved me wrong, and I'm happy to see it. For some context, before they made that trade, Dallas had the 16th highest offensive rating. They were like 16th ranked offense. And their offensive rating, if you're curious, was 110. Since that trade, they now have the 4th highest offensive rating at 119. Now, the defensive rating has dropped a little bit because there was at one point where Dallas had the 2nd best defense in the league right behind the Boston Celtics, especially in the month of January. And I think part of that was because Kristaps was starting to play better defensively. He was playing with more energy. He was moving better on the defensive side of the ball. And the Dallas just had better defensive effort all around, I think. So the defense has slacked a little bit. They're missing the rim protection or the paint protection that Kristaps Porzingis brought. But the offense looks a whole lot better. I like it a lot. Spencer Dinwiddie's playing very, very well. I can see, the coaching implementation of Jason Kidd. I don't have a crazy take, to be honest with you, for the Dallas Mavericks. I'm not saying they're title contenders or anything like that. But we all know how Luka liked the ball out in the playoffs. Has he won a series? No. But he's put on some great shows against great defenders in Kawhi Leonard and Paul George multiple times in the playoffs. And if the playoffs were to end today, they'd actually end up being matched up with the Nuggets. Yeah, they'd be matched up against the Nuggets in the first round. I would like that matchup a lot. I can see Jokic winning it because he's Jokic and he's a phenomenal player, MVP caliber player. But I also can see the Mavericks winning that because Luka is Luka, and now he has another person who can be another punch for him, like a 1-2 punch. He finally legit has a 1-2 punch, at least in my opinion. And this might seem like a bad comparison, but it just popped in my head. And considering they just broke up and blew that team up because it didn't work the way they wanted it to, they have the opportunity to build something similar to CJ and Dame. With Luka being the primary ball handler and CJ, the closer and the person who closes out most games. But Spencer Dinwiddie can, he can get in there and get his buckets and create for others as well, very similar to CJ. Spencer's finally looking like the Spencer's finally looking like the Spencer we saw back in those Brooklyn Nets days when he was partnering up with D'Lo. I like the Mavericks. And I'm not usually someone who's high on Luka. I came into the season thinking I don't want to say Luka was overrated, but I mean, I saw people saying he was coming in as a top 3 player in the league, and I wasn't seeing that. I know Luka's game. I see his game. He's dumb nice. But people was calling him top 3 in the league, and I wasn't seeing all that yet. Am I saying I'm seeing it now? Still not saying that. But I like the Mavericks. I do. Let's see what they're talking about in here. Rage says, lots of players that become coaches don't succeed much. But Jason Kidd is pretty decent. I agree. Lots, yeah. I mean, we seen what's going on with Steve Nash. I'm going to give him a couple more years, but it's hard to go from a player to a coach, especially if you were the guy, if that makes sense. Thank you for calling Hawks Hoops. This is Hawk. Who am I talking to?
You are talking to the Angry Nets fan, John the Ninja.
What's good, John? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, family. You knew I had to call and you had to mention them one time. I was waiting for it. You almost hit it with Jason Kidd. You talk about the Mavericks. As soon as you mentioned the Nets, I knew it was my time to call and complain.
How you feeling about your Nets, man? How you feeling?
You know what? I'm feeling good. That's why I called in, bro. I had to know. How much bread do you think I should put down for tomorrow's game? I fully am invested in this. I don't believe we'll win, but I don't believe we'll lose. I need some statistics. What's going to happen? Because, I don't want that bum Big Ten on us. But you know what? I think we can do it, even though for some reason Harden got a bone to pick with us. I don't know what happened.
Listen, man, I'm going to tell you right now, Harden probably going to try to play crazy. I can't be the one to tell you who's going to win because you know how I feel about my Sixers and I know how you feel about your Nets. So we're both going to say our team's going to win that game, obviously, right? But I think it's going to be a really, really good game to watch. It should be, at least. It should be a good game.
So statistically, breaking away from the BS and our pride in our teams, man, who would you say statistically should win this game?
Statistically? That's tough. It really is tough. I'm gonna say probably the Sixers, only because I don't think they had I don't believe the Nets have someone to really guard Joel Embiid. But I mean, the Sixers also don't have someone to guard Kevin Durant. I don't know. I think this is gonna be, and I feel bad because I feel like I don't have a real answer for you. But the reason I feel like I don't have a real answer for you is because both of these teams made so many moves in that trade that I think this is going to be the first real benchmark for both of these teams. Like, this is probably, the Nets are going to be the best team the Sixers have played since the trade. Like, we beat up on the Knicks twice. We beat the Timberwolves. The Cavaliers game was a solid win. Cavaliers are a good team, you know what I mean? They are our playoff team, but they're not the Nets, you know what I mean? The Cavs aren't in championship aspirations, at least in my mind. They're not title contenders. The Nets are legit title contenders. So it'll be nice to see them against a team of that caliber. I don't know, to be really real with you. Trying to really keep my bias out of it. The Sixers can't guard Kevin Durant, but the Nets also can't guard Joel Embiid. And Kyrie and James Harden are both certified buckets. Before, I probably would have said the Sixers because I'm like, well, it's just those two guys on the net side of KD and Kyrie. But I'm really like what I'm seeing from Seth Curry lately as well for them. Andre Drummond just the other night had 20 points for them. I don't think he's going to do that against Joel Embiid, but Seth Curry could have a big night. But the Sixers also have Maxey. So, I think these teams match up very well. I think they both have unstoppable forces, but I think at the other positions or in the other spots, I really do think it's a really somewhat even matchup.
I see where you're coming from, man. You see, you the math person when it comes to this. I'm more so to feel this is what I see, and I don't care what the eyes say. But I will say this, breaking character and also trying to put things in perspective. I'm calling for Curry to do some wildness tomorrow. I don't know if you woke up the other day and you saw Kyrie drop 50 and you went, what DTF?
I did.
Because that's definitely what I did.
I did.
I dropped my beer. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. And then I realized I had carpet. I was upset. But Curry, I think he has a little bit more of a grudge. I think he was happy in Philly. I don't think he was happy to leave, even though he's putting in the work and he sees his opportunity with the Nets. So I'm gonna call Curry, not Kyrie, not Durant. I'll say Curry makes a statement tomorrow, puts his foot up someone's ass, and says, "Shame on y'all for letting me go." And I'm gonna be looking forward to it because he's the best out of everything that's happened in the past couple of years. He's probably the best trade since we got Kevin Durant. He's probably the best thing that happened since then. No offense to my Nets fans. Listen, I love my team. I'm happy everyone's here. But I'll say Curry's going to be that end game that gets us a bucket and a win.
I mean, I'm not mad at that because I agree. Curry was playing really good for Philly. Curry was one of those, dang, it really is a business type trades because he was playing really good. He did nothing wrong for the Sixers. He showed up. He balled out. He was a good teammate. He was a good locker room guy. But it really was just like, dang, this really a business. And he just was a part of a package, kind of, sort of. So I could see him showing up with a chip on the shoulder, but I don't think in so much of a angry way, but just like the competitor in him is going to be like, oh, all right, probably feel a little disrespected. And I agree. He's going to try to have a good game.
Listen, I feel like that man's going to sacrifice someone's soul to our living God at this game. But I digress, good sir. Oh, thank you for the analysis. I think I'm going to go put a couple of $1,000 on this game. I'll have to dip into the stocks and see what happens.
All right, bro.
Peace, family. God bless you.
God bless. Later, man. Shout out to John, man. That's my boy right there. One of my groomsmen in the wedding. But yeah, getting back to let me see what y'all was talking about. I said all I basically wanted to say about the Mavericks and Jason Kidd. Rage says Jason wasn't a good coach on the Bucks though. I agree. He was not that great of a coach on the Bucks. He was not a good coach on the Bucks at all. But you know what's wild? While his X's and O's, in my opinion at least, weren't good on the Bucks, Jason Kidd was the guy who was like, hey, let's put the ball in Giannis's hands. Let's try point guard Giannis. That was Kidd. Kidd implemented that. And now, X amount of years later, we got 2 MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year, Finals MVP, champion. And the Nuggets, and it's not all the time. Don't get me wrong. The Kidd was like, okay, Giannis point guard 24/7. But Mike Budenholzer a lot of times still puts the ball in Giannis's hands and let him bring it up the court. They still obviously run with Drew Holiday and stuff like that, but that was Kidd's vision of Giannis playing point guard. So he clearly has an eye for it. And Giannis loves Jason Kidd. He's said it multiple times. He's gone about it. He said it in interviews. He's talked about it at length before of how much he liked Jason Kidd as a coach. Jason Kidd was his guy. So while his X's and O's we might not always agree with his X's and O's, he knows players. And it's probably because he was a player. He knows how to connect with players. He knows how to get his players to play for him. So, and at least now with the Mavericks, it looks like he's getting the X's and O's side of it down. That he's got good clipboard coaching, but he also has the players on the side and playing for him. So, and to me, it's evident with this Dallas Mavericks team. Triple OG says, wow, they better drug test Spencer. What drugs is he giving the team? Rage says Luka Magic. Triple OG, I feel like Luka is like Tim Duncan, where he's a lot better than the eye test shows. Interesting. Seth Curry is growing faster than Giannis. Went from being a junior varsity player to a great bench starter. I see what you're saying there. I see. I get the analogy. I'll say that. I get the analogy for sure. But I think that's everything, guys. That's all my notes I had for today. So I appreciate all y'all for pulling up to the stream, hanging out with me, conversating. Let's talk hoops. That's my whole thing. I will see y'all next week, 8 p.m. here, of course. And as you know, we're going to be dropping the shorts. We're going to be dropping the clips. I guess that's it. I don't have any other announcements. We're working on some other things behind the scenes. I don't really want to announce it yet. You'll see it in a couple of weeks. I'll see you guys next week. I'm out. Peace.